This week I am on my way to California, where 4P's episode 101 will next be arriving on the 101. Highway 101, that is, in the Bay Area. Out in San Francisco for a few days, where 49ers fans will be in full effect, and the only thing not foggy and misty are these thoughts I'm about to share with you now. So I'm reluctant to even make mention of CES because it's somewhat devolved over the past 20 years in an impractical way. I used to go, but instead of celebrating the technology and innovation upon which this event was initially founded, CES has become another brand marketing networking event full of keynotes and panels and conferences and dinners and parties. Now, there is a time and place for all this, but CES was not initially that time or that place. Either way, there was still some practical and even more impractical from CES last week. But one tidbit that I did like, listening to Delta CEO Ed Bastian's keynote in Vegas talking about connected, integrated travel and the experiences around how you simplify that was something that really stood out for me. Now, I fly a lot. I used to complain a lot about my overall travel experiences because it was just a fun thing to do and I knew everyone could relate. But since shifting from American and United to almost always flying Delta a few years back, my travel experiences have definitely improved. And it's from this that I learned maybe the best practical tip of the year. The ability to now link my Sky Miles, Delta, and Lyft accounts. It's further proof that an integrated travel experience is coming. And think about this. When you ride with Lyft and they can take into consideration things like flight delays or bad weather or traffic based on real-time data between the two and others in the open API, wouldn't that be cool and make it just a lot less of things and hassles to worry about? Or having a car ready to pick you up when you land, not having to text or call or see where the driver is, but just know when you're projected to be out of the terminal, even with mid-flight or ground taxiing delays. That is what I like. So while some are reluctant to share their data and connect things, my philosophy is, let's connect it all. This week we celebrated my dad's 74th birthday, which is not quite a milestone year, but considering the fragile state of the world as well as just all of our health, every birthday is a milestone we're celebrating. And yes, people are living longer, working longer, and having more income to spend later into life. Now, I know as a marketer, I and our industry spend a lot of time thinking about marketing to millennials. But a report that just came out says that millennials are going to be the first generation to not surpass their parents in wealth, meaning we should not be ignoring our parents or millennials' grandparents. I'm kind of in between. And my mom still fancies herself as stylish and fashionable, and while runways and magazines are dominated by thin, youthful models, older women are about to dominate actual fashion expenditures. And according to industry analysts, women aged 50 plus are expected to overtake younger shoppers as fashion's biggest spenders, and by a large margin, all within the next 15 to 20 years. So yeah, people are living longer, taking better care of themselves, having greater incomes, and since I'm going to be one of those 50 plus people in the next 10 years, god damn it, we want to look fabulous, enjoying the rest of our lives. I see it. Marketing ageism is a multi-pronged problem. So I say this, fuck the millennials. It's time for the age of Grandma-rketing. Last week's primer on our first key issue of the 2020 election was about healthcare. And I've been told it was actually quite helpful. So thanks, and you're welcome. But I also got a few, why are you bothering? So don't argue these things. You're not going to change anyone's mind. And to that I say, false. Irrefutable facts can and have changed minds. For example, During the last Christmas vacation, my wife and I finally decided that the time was right to engage a Trump-supporting member of our family on an easy issue for us, something that we care a lot about and know a lot about, and that's gun safety. So here's the breakdown on this issue. We're talking about 40,000 people who die each year from gun violence in the U.S., and that is not a fact that is up for debate. But what the gun toters will say is that responsible gun legislation doesn't work. Just look at Chicago and all the gun violence there. Well, to that I say, false. The states with the toughest gun laws are not actually Illinois, but New York and California and other Northeast states. It's not about cities, because yes, there is terrible gun violence in Chicago, but many of those guns are obtained elsewhere and brought into Chicago. So federal gun safety laws would work and could work. Responsible gun legislation, background checks. But the NRA has fought to block any testing or research or they're funding and paying senators to prevent this legislation from even being debated in the Senate. Ultimately, looking at a national level is helpful. Nations with strict gun laws, from manufacturing restrictions to possession laws, are safer. And I will take on anyone who wants to debate this because the facts are clear, as should be our collective interest to protect and save as many lives as possible. Hey, guess what? Lots of brands are creating lots of content these days. All of my years of pushing content marketing seem to have paid off, and then some. In fact, there's more content now than ever, but that's not always a good thing. I was recently talking with a company a couple weeks ago that says they have, at any given time, 40,000 pieces of content out in the market across all channels. But theirs is an incomplete and therefore inefficient approach. So here are some random thoughts I wrote down about how content is changing for 2020 in the last week or so. Number one, expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness. They still matter as much as, and probably more so than, engagement-driving, culture-jacking memes. A balance between entertainment and education matter for everyone, including DR-driven brands. Even as e-commerce becomes increasingly important, Google wants you to create content that you're an expert on and then want people to find that. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. That helps build trust and transparency. Number two, owned and operated must be a part of the plan, especially for DR and conversion brands. Quality blogs work, and that matters, as does optimizing website code for search. According to ComScore, over 50% of searches will be voice-related moving forward, and then higher. Simple things like optimizing the header to help Google crawl and understand the key data and content and pages on your site, that works. Your goal is to be included in the rich snippet results on Google, which users find to be more valuable for their needs. Three, human-driven creativity is great, but AI and machine learning are here to stay. Websites have gotten much better about understanding what consumers actually are looking for based on search queries and clicks and dynamically adjusting information shown based on that. This is where personalized content should be going. So four, increasing personalization for your audiences. But it may be overrated. Creating the right content and having the right product offering is only as important and good as making sure people can find it and access it and understand it. But over-personalizing still infringes on people's creepy filter radar, and it can be off-putting for many consumers, so know where the line is. And five, think of your interactive content and imagery as bite-size again. Videos and podcasts are prevalent and in some cases now oversaturated. The key is to make more of this content bite-sized and understandable in shorter bursts, like a PowerPoint, but like swipeable as a carousel or cut down and spread out into pieces over time. That's my time. Have a good week.